Yeah.
You know, I'm really glad we got the ability to put in those clips midway through so we could still claim that's not pre-recorded when some conspiracy theorists would say it were. So we're just going to add some fuel to the fire. But you know where there's no fires, Jamerson? Volskaya Industries, which is one of the safest places anyone can live. Volskaya, what they've done for the area is actually incredible.
Honestly, I would definitely wouldn't feel safer any other place in the world at this point. And with our robot overlords just looking over us and making sure that we're safe. I know that I'm being watched.
Yeah, and you know what? It's fine because the Volskaya company is very, very just forgiving. They're really a kind overlord. But now that I've collected my paycheck, let's take a look at Envy here on the defense, where going to be running a almost old school, similar dive defense, but with Buds in the back. Tailspin will get some ability of the freelance here, but a lot is going to depend on Buds setting the stage.
But Skyfoxes are going to be running that double sniper composition, so Buds has to worry about those two threats right now. We'll see if Tailspin and Co can try and keep them under wraps. So take a look at the jumps coming in. We'll see where Skyfoxes try to target down the defense.
Well, it was Tailspin getting in on Boostio immediately, so Boostio was looking for the pickoff on the back line, didn't look to his own back. Buds piles on to Jur and makes it a twofer as Far ends up falling. It's a clean sweep for Envy.
Yeah, Far tries to grapple away, hits his head on the ceiling, falls right into a bullet. Not a great look, and DPS, we didn't mention it at all, actually coming in for the Skyfoxes here, taking the space of Ace of Spades, along with Gru actually coming in.
Yeah, we do have a few change-ups here. I don't know how effective it may be. Obviously, Skyfoxes are testing out different things here. Thought that the personnel swap would go in their favor, but it's very tough to get anything done when you just lose people immediately, as I was about to say. Buds, no mercy, immediately starts out. There is a mercy that rezzed up Pete in, but two different phrases, and Buds doesn't care, picks off another.
Yeah, and this is the Buds you really do have to worry about, the one that's just feeling it. And he's, you know, sometimes he can be streaky, but when he's on that streak, he is fearsome, to say the least. He does get checked by Boostio there, but now his team answers instantly. McGravy answers the call, takes him out.
Envy looking near impervious right now. Skyfox is just unable to get anything going, and a big part of that is just Buds, who is finding these early pickoffs every time they cross the threshold.
But it's also just with the help of like Tailspin, McGravy, and Shiny just running around and making sure that, you know, there's no free entrance really for the Skyfoxes. They're going to try and take this right-hand side, which I guess it's great because, you know, it does cut down the sidelines that Buds can shoot you from, but you're running right into a Tailspin. Yeah, you're right into Tailspin, who's locked and loaded with a Pulse Bomb. Goes back the other way, a little bit of razzle-dazzle, blows Boostio the smithereens. The Brigitte swap doesn't quite work, and Buds goes, oh, you want to retreat? That's cute. Goodbye, Far. And this is kind of the same issue that Skyfox ran into in the last map. They just really didn't know how to approach on Eichenwald, and so they approached very slowly, allowing Buds to get these puck shots off. And now Tailspin is also just really lining them up with this Tracer. Team Envy sitting on 4 ultimates now, both support ultimates along with both tank ultimates, as Skyfoxes are going to change things up. Boostio has gone over to that Brigitte, but it's going to be a while before he gets the rally.
The thing is, Skyfoxes haven't even forced Envy to use anything yet because Buds has been picking people off so early. Tailspin got the last early pickoff, and they haven't really dealt with this incoming wave of ultimates from the defense that are just going to wash over them. Yeah,
Far goes for that Inversight, and then Buds instantly answers, and so you saw them just frozen in their tracks where Skyfox is trying to figure out how to approach this, waiting out but already Buds taking that 1v1 up against Far, and man, Skyfox is on the retreat.
He chunked DPS so much that he had to immediately primal. Doesn't have for long enough. Buds able to get away from the self-destruct, but this fight for Skyfoxes, a little bit better here so far. Tailspin got revenge from the grave. The stick happened right after he fell. And Envy, though, they're a little bit more broken here than they have been before, and they do have to use a lot of ult power. Still finding time to delay, but with Buds finally falling, Shiny gonna find himself alone here with McGravy. They can buy some time, but this is looking like the Foxes might have finally broken through.
But they have to fall back. Did Guru get demeched there? He's surviving on a sliver of HP, gets demeched as Tailspin gets back into this fight, and so that is going to slow down the Foxes. They're still going to try and push forward, though, because they do have Boostio back here with that Brigitte.
Getting that demech was so important. Now Envy has a real chance to retake. The Skyfoxes had to readjust their positioning entirely because of that, and guess what? They bought enough time. Buds is getting back into this fight. The opportunity might be gone for the Skyfoxes now, as Envy is back as a full 6. They're still benefiting from the rally that's in progress right now, but Envy is whittling it down. McGravy has a self-destruct, gonna let it fly, but not before getting Guru's mech. So there's a diva edge now to Envy. Buds, under pressure, shakes the pressure, goes back the other way, takes down Boostio, and is open for more, but Far shuts him down in the moment. This is just still going the way of Envy, though, as they invest the Transcendence.
Transcendence is used, and they're able to just dogpile on top of DPS and take him out, and one by one, Envious will clean up the Skyfoxes. It's just a lone Hedan as the Transcendence wears off. It's gonna be a full hold, no progress made whatsoever by the Skyfoxes.
There were a lot of things working well for Envy there at all positions, but when you have a Widowmaker performing at the level that Buds was there, it just completely shuts down the game. Skyfoxes were basically going, okay, we're ready to go, and we're down one, reset, rinse, repeat. And by the time they finally had a good push, Envy had enough ultimates there to at least make it a long delayed fight. They were able to get Guru at the very end and actually bought themselves time to get back in, which doesn't happen all that often on Point A Volskaya.
Honestly, Bud's performance on Widowmaker on Volskaya here harkens back to one of the last times we saw Envious, Taimu on Widowmaker here on Volskaya, where he was just absolutely popping off and they just couldn't do anything at all. Skyfox is running into that same wall up against Buds.
He's finishing what Taimu started.
Yeah. This is for you, Taimu. This is for you, Taimu. But now, Skyfox is really up against it because they are down 2 maps at this point. If they want to try and keep this series alive, no, wait, actually it's just over because the best they can do is draw here. And so that means Envy just take the victory. Yeah,
Envy, no matter what here, is guaranteed the series win. Skyfoxes, of course, this is the group of death, so to speak. Every team we expect to be pretty competitive, so they want to get anything they can get here, right? Like, if they could still end up getting a draw, which would remove a map from Envy, and if they could get a win on map number 4, who knows how that could play out later on in the season, but Envy so far has been playing next level. Simple as that.
Yeah, at this point they are fighting for, you know, a map differential of -1 instead of a map differential of -2, 3, 4. So we'll see what Skyfoxes can do to kind of negate some of that damage onto their record right now. On the defense, they are running solo support in Jer, so they have to be careful in how they do this, as Hedan is going to be on the Roadhog.
Yeah, you just cursed Jer. Here's a, Buzz is just going to snipe Jer in the first 2 seconds here. That's what I truly believe. Oh, no! Well, good thing my beliefs don't amount to much.
He gets a second chance, though.
He does.
There you go. Go ahead. Go ahead, Buds. Do it again.
All right, Buds, please redeem myself here. It's not going to be quite as good, but I would feel in the realm. And actually, no, he doesn't like what he's seeing in terms of running Widow. He's going to be swapping it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, right? Because they do know that there's an Orisa on the field. There's Far on the Widowmaker. There's Boostio on the Hanzo. He doesn't have to try and deal with the sniper battle. They go for the full dive instead.
Tailspin is out deep in enemy lines, by the way. Like, he is secret agent Tailspin right now, waiting for the rest of the team to go back in. I'm not even sure they realize Tailspin is back there. This is a nice entry area for a Tracer if he can make it work.
They spotted him, and he gets Far. And so 2 members already going down the full dive as you instantly just put your foot on the pedal there. All the gas going forward, and now Envy just cleaning up the members of Skyfoxes. Hedan trying his best, but all he gets is the D-Mech onto McGravy, and they will trade away that mech any day. Team Envious will secure the 3rd map here as they take Point A.
Hey, Tailspin had as much foresight on that flank as he did in not changing his Twitter handle. He's just like, if I go way behind enemy lines and I wait for a long time, I can triple blink into Far and immediately erase him from the game, and just made that last attack very easy for Envy.
Yeah, certainly we saw their Skyfoxes gave themselves a window. They gave themselves a window there as they finally broke through that first pass there on Volskaya. Unfortunately, as it's kind of been the theme for Skyfoxes with this series, it's the lack of conversion. It's the lack of turning opportunities into meaningful pacing, meaningful results. And yeah, Envy took the series. I think if we'd asked everybody down the desk going into this, that would probably have been the expectation, but doing so in kind of that same dominant fashion you expect from a veteran crew.
Yeah, and like a lot of the mistakes that they were making are mistakes that can be cleaned up. And so, of course, on that Point A offense coming out from the Skyfoxes, Guru sticking around way too long along with DPS, of course, meant that Envy could punish them. They get the D-Mech from there, and that allowed, of course, Envy to buy the time for a full 5-6-man retake onto the point. Skyfoxes, there are things you can fix here, but these aren't, you know, like what's the word, unfixable mistakes, right?
Yeah.
I would say the bigger problem for them from a coaching end, though, is that if you look at it, sort of where do you start as you look at that? Because there's so many different aspects of the game that they're getting beaten on right now. And look, let's look to the tank side of it, right? Where you had McGravy buying all sorts of time with Shiny to even make that second comeback happen, where Envy was pretty beaten and bruised there, where they didn't get the early pick off. The fight was looking much better for Skyfoxes, and McGravy and iShiny were able to buy the time they needed, right? They stayed on there long enough for Tailspin to get back in, DMEC Guru, and for Buds to take his high ground position once more and just rip the Skyfoxes wide open.
Yeah, Jamerson, I like what you said. I think there's a lot of opportunity for you to sit down if you're the coaching staff of the Skyfoxes. This is kind of a coach and an analyst's dream, right? To dig into this and say, hey, we should have been there instead of here. The theory, the basic theory in which they're playing the game, respect to the meta, that feels like it's mostly spot on. You know, it's not like they're trying to reinvent the wheel as we've seen some Trials teams do. So certainly opportunity, and they are going to get one more map again. They can't win the series. The series is gone from them, but they can sit there, they can grow, they can learn, and have more opportunities to do better as the season progresses.
My question is, do we see things go to Rialto where it's just like, oh, you might be a newer team, why don't you come to Rialto?
Hey, good job.
Yeah, the answer is Rialto. Why not? And it makes perfect sense where it's just like, oh, you guys are really familiar with all these other maps. Well, you're not familiar with this one. At least we hope.
You know, it's one of those things that's like, maybe you don't know Rialto? Come on.
Maybe Rialto works out. It can't get any worse than Volskaya, so it's just like, only up from here.
I mean, this is definitely the curveball that you can always throw in. It was a similar story to when Horizon came out along with Blizzard World.
So certainly they're going to have an opportunity to get one win here, going for Rialto as their choice. But we're going to hop into game here, see if they can get something on the board, or if Envy is just going to pull out the clean 4-0.
And Envy here, you want to talk about different hero compositions coming out. We'll be seeing the Hanzo come out from Tailspin here. So Buds has been doing sort of a one-man army work on Widow the entire time. But what happens if you add another sniper to the mix? I suppose we'll find out.
We saw Fire and Crimzo taking a nice support date on that gondola there. We'll jump right on out, but yeah, Envy is not really changing much up. I mean, this is kind of what we expect when we come on to Rialto here. Double Sniper is very strong. So Buds and Tailspin, of course, on the snipers respectively. It's going to be what the Skyfoxes do here. Are they going to go for an Orisa themselves? We didn't get to see that Orisa really succeeding on the offense, so DPS will be going over to the Reinhardt.
And I know it sounds simplistic here as we look at their attack plans and how they are going to be more ground and pound for Reinhardt Zarya, but really the best way of getting through here is Boostio needs to channel a little bit of magic, take down Buds early, and then have the team confirm the kill. The problem is that because they're ground and pound, it's going to be hard for them to do that. He got Buds, but now can they rush in and confirm the kill? I don't think they can. The res is going to happen.
Yeah, the Orisa barrier was there for Shiny, but now Boostio, he was going onto that flank play, but he got caught out by that Venom Mine. Take a look at all this damage being dished out onto DPS's barrier. They have to back away just to be able to get that back on up, and as Far tries to go for that peak, he gets taken out by Tailspin, but he will be resurrected back into this.
Envy's going to get their res back up soon, though, so they're going to have a window of res advantage here, which means that anything that Buds and Tailspin get now, it's going to be permanent. Buds is down, and this is going to be on the edge here. Fire's going to have that res back up in just a moment, and yeah, he's going to get Buds back up, so the Terror is not out here yet. Boostio, though, doing a very nice job of contesting Buds here so far, but it hasn't quite translated into winning the fight here just yet.
Boostio just waiting in the back line, lining up these shots. But it's going to be Team Envy. We'll see if they come in for the retake. They do have McGravy, of course, on that D.Va. He can just jump on down with the booster pack just to stall it out long enough for his Orisa, for his Shiny to step up.
Boostio, again, playing the angles, looking to get Buds once more. If you get him just one more time, they can deny to the res. That would be all they would need for point A. Envy, though, might want to touch a point. You're getting awfully far away from it. I think they realize the danger. Crimzo goes, get on the point. I'm going to transcend. Envy looking in more disarray, but Tailspin off the flank takes down 2. Not going to be able to res all that. And Envy, despite the disorganization, likely going to hold.
Yeah, this map is, like we had talked about earlier, just a sniper's playground, because they can just run around everywhere. And with the mobility of both Hanzo along with a Widowmaker, you can really abuse all these sight lines. Buds keeps finding his head within the crosshairs of Boostio, but of course, he's got that resurrection from Fire. He might want to back off just a bit.
Buds is Doctor Strange right now. Boostio, I've come to bargain, and he's dying in all sorts of different manners, but he's getting res back up, so it's not going quite as well for the Foxes as I would like. Going to the next fight, though, you see Guru, he does have the Graviton ready, and it's just how do you land this?
They have to run right on up, but McGravy's been really good about his diva play so far and his defense matrix. We'll see if they can try and exhaust that. Maybe Far starts it off by actually using like his storm arrows on a vulnerable target, but there we go. Buds takes out Hedon. Here comes a Dragon Strike.
And they already invested the Graviton. This is a disaster for the Skyfoxes. The Dragon Strike is late. It's not there to follow the Graviton, and Buds is on a rampage. Takes down 2 on the other side. Tailspin gonna be there for the cleanup with McGravy, and that was just rough coordination from the Skyfoxes. They had the Graviton, but they didn't have the follow-through.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was actually any coordination at all at that point. And so now we're seeing some swap-offs coming out. DPS going over to the Winston Guru, going over to the Diva. Now they're going for the full dive, and we saw how effective this was earlier on Eichenwald.
Hedon went swimming. Zenyatta's not waterproof. This is very important to remind people. He did not go for the upgraded model.
Well, I mean, you know, he's not materialistic, right? He's a Shambhala. He's given away a lot of his earthly possessions.
He lives in an area with snow. This seems like a very big design flaw. That's all I'm saying. Buds, though, in the back as Widow. Again, looking for opportunities with his recon sight up. And now he's just going to hold back. And Skyfoxes, it is their last opportunity. 19 seconds left remaining.
Supercharger is used by Shiny, and that's going to slow down the Skyfoxes just a bit as they're waiting out the duration of it. But it is a pretty long duration. They've got to make the move very shortly. 10 seconds left now.
Bustio hoping his luck is a little bit better on Tracer here. No longer taking the Widow v Widow battle. He wasn't able to get the follow-through from the rest of his team. Now we head into overtime. They cannot leave the payload. Envy going to commit the Transcendence here. Gravy punishing Hedon immediately. And again, it's just Tailspin finding these flanks. Got Far early on. And it's going to be Envy cleaning up the last little bit here. Buds doesn't even have to contribute that much towards the end because the rest of his team, they have control of the payload. That's a victory dragon, and Envy holds very close to the beginning here on Rialto.
I mean, you're right? Buds definitely doesn't need to contribute towards the tail end there because he did plenty at the beginning of their defense. And so now they are on the verge of taking a 4-0 our team Envy. They just have to push the payload 90.76 meters. And with the way Buds is playing, I don't know if Skyfoxes are going to be able to stop them.
I feel like that had to be such a frustrating game for Bustio because even though he was getting pickoffs onto Buds, so much in the Widow v Widow game is it's not just about picking off the other Widow, it's about picking off the Widow in a way that your team can go in and deny the res and take advantage of the opportunity. So many of those pickoffs were happening in just non-relevant situations where, yes, you've burned the res, but you're not in a good spot to actually take advantage of it, and Buds was able to reposition, and Envy just continually got away with what should have been worse situations for them.
And generally you're thinking, right, when you're playing that offensive Widowmaker, getting that pick or whatever, it's great because the defensive respawn can really be punished, but instead they just were never able to do anything at all because the other threat was there in Tailspin. Once you worried about the threat of Buds and Buds taking out one person, you're checking that angle, Tailspin is right behind you with the storm arrows, just nailing you down.
Yeah, Tail wasn't even trying to go for any ridiculous aggro plays. He's like, oh, you're really concerned with going after Buds and going for the tanks. All right, I'm just gonna go behind you and just shoot you with storm arrows. And I tried my best to channel Tailspin there. He's probably one of the more chill guys you could ever run into. He's like, yeah, all right, I'll do this. But I mean, really, that probably was his attitude there. He's like, oh, I'll just shoot people in the back, why not?
Yeah, here's an arrow.
Grabs the guitar after and puts out a solo. I don't know. Just run things.
All right, so now Envy is looking for that 4-0 as they get out the gates, make their way across this bridge. Skyfoxes have to make an early defense. They can't give up much ground, but instead they're going to go ahead and give them this for free.
And the problem here with giving this much up is that you don't have much to give. Usually you want to be a lot more aggressive with this on defense when you're in this position. Far, though, starts things off with a bang. Gets Buds early, but it's not a permanent kill. Fire gets to bring him back up, so Buds continues his trend of getting picked off on this map, but not being picked off in a situation that matters too much. McGravy winning the tank battle, Guru's out of it, and Envy now has a lot of zone control to work with.
Yeah, that's great with that hook. They convert onto that mech, and now there are less defensive options for Skyfoxes, so McGravy just charges forward onto this Reinhardt, but Far was able to get that kill onto Crimzo, allowing Bustio to get in. Hook comes out. That is not resable.
That is a difference between what we saw where Tailspin was going on the flanks. There wasn't any Roadhog to check him. McGravy here is just like, yeah, that's cool, that's Hanzo. I guess I'm going to hook you in and deal with you. Buds brought back up once more, and Envy has been stalled out a little bit here, but Skyfoxes still has a long way to go.
They still need to wait for their Hanzo to get back. Luckily, Boostio did enough damage, so he does have that dragon now. Envy gonna go ahead and send the entire force up to the high ground, and they might get de-seated by that dragon, but all of them survive.
That dragon was a mere obstacle for Envy. They heal on through, and now they get an opportunity to come back in over the top side. Key part here is Hedan. Hedan needs to have the Transcendence Force out. No, he goes down before being able to transcend. It's even bigger than that. That is a disaster for the Skyfoxes here. They're going to try and res up Hedan so he can immediately transcend. He's back up. Now we'll see if he transcends in time to save DPS. He just might.
Shiny did fall for that. Here comes the Earth Shatter. He gets behind the shield. McGravy falls. Boostio is connecting with these arrows now, and DPS is able to just swing for the fences as he's on top of this Orisa. Shiny will fall, and Skyfoxes keep this map alive for now.
They can take a sigh of relief. That was getting out of the fire. Hedan was one person that could not die there. He did, but luckily for the Skyfoxes, they had a res in reserve. Jared brought it back.
Now, both support ultimates were used by both Envy and Skyfoxes, so I don't know if this benefits. I feel like this might benefit Envy more because they are on the offensive here, and they're going to push forward with that supercharger.
Well, dueling dragons here in the middle, but Tailspins spent a little bit more time at the arcade, takes down 2. Guru, though, equalizes self-destruct, but it's not going to be enough. The res comes back in. Envy has recovered far more from this dragon and bombs combo, and as a result, Envy now very close to finishing this out. A minute 13 left. Skyfoxes, they need to throw some bodies on the point. They got to throw some bodies on the point. It's got to be a Widow here. Boostio got Buds on the other end. Last chance here, and the flanking Hanzo, just a thing here, and this could be enough for the Foxes to hold.
Hanzo v Hanzo along with Crimzo in the back. Far will take him out, but the exchange is favoring Skyfoxes for now. Hook comes in. McGravy might have turned the tides. Never mind, he's just stuck in the alleyway now. As he will fall, the res comes back in. And just in the nick of time, Skyfoxes will keep this alive. Envy might have one final opportunity to close this out and get the 4-0.
They're 40 seconds away. When you have a late swap from Buds here, forsaking the Widowmaker, going to Genji, not really going to have time to build a blade. This is going to come down to the Zens.
Now Fire, he's also got that Valkyrie ready along with Jer, so the ultimate advantage definitely in favor of the Skyfoxes. We'll see also DPS with that Earth Shatter. Holding on to it.
Look to DPS here, where he could just end it before it begins with a good Earth Shatter early on. Far off the flank on the Widowmaker. DPS still near the payload, holding and waiting for a Shatter. The Transcendence already used for Envy, used by Hedan in turn. It's out of the fight. Tailspin, gone. Boostio, get on the payload, Skyfoxes. That was way too close. Now, they get the last 2 kills. They go for the Victory Dragon, and the Foxes might have stolen one here from Envy, and they blow them up for good measure. It is Envy's series, but the Foxes prove they got some fight in them yet. They take Rialto.
Well done to the Foxes, getting onto the board before the series ends, and that's what I like to see, right? They clearly executed on that one. I would say much better. I mean, look, I'm just a temporary left guy, but my critical analysis here is they executed better on that one. They had a plan, they stuck to it, and they ended up getting the win there, which has to feel good for them after what was otherwise kind of a very punishing series.
Honestly, that was like the look I was looking for coming out from the Skyfoxes. Boostio on that Hanzo, and he can make the plays. With the lunge now, with the mobility that he has, you can get in and you can get out. He got punished about once when McGravy got the hook onto him, but that was really about it. For the rest of it, he was playing very smart with it, was able to find the angles and get the eliminations.
Yeah.
Also, I think a key difference here, of course, is that Envy this entire time was just sort of taking for granted Bud's ability to get early pickoff after early pickoff, and that simply wasn't happening on the attack on Rialto, where Buds was finding himself actually getting picked off early by Far, by Boostio. It wasn't the greatest showing for him on the whole. It was good for him on the defense, but on the attack, it was a little bit tougher, and Envy had to play a little bit more standard, and they definitely hit some bumps in the road.
We were talking about Buds being so consistent in this series, and I think it's worth pointing out that not only has he been up to this point, up to that attack run playing really consistently, he essentially was playing with the one-up mushroom because every single time he would die, like I hope Fire was getting royalties because that track of Resurrect Buds was played over and over and over. I think at the end, he accidentally rezzed Shiny. I don't know if he's aware that he did that because that's not Buds, but Buds, unfortunately, at that very last stop was really kind of unable to capitalize on those kills, get those headshots that were required. And to your point, Jamerson, Boostio flanking just all the time. He was just always behind them. He was always above them. He was basically picking unpredictable angles and making his presence felt.
Rob, I gotta say, by the way, is The Walking Dead will never be gone so long as Buds is alive, at least with that level of just zombification that was going on throughout the course of this series.
This is why it's a temporary thing I show up, because this desk just gets a little bit too silly, and you and I just change dad jokes over and over. But the important thing here is Skyfoxes again. This is a Contenders trial team that worked their way up, formerly Karasuno, and they've gotten to this point now, they've gotten on the board, and that has to feel good. You know, especially if you're going to lose a series, get that win on the last map, end on a high note, and as you're watching the VODs later to see what you could have done better, you at least get to end the VOD session on a look what we did right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, going up against Envy, they are a heavy hitter in this group. One of many, but still, they do hit heavy, and you get to see why. Tailspin, the return of him, he looked fantastic. Whether he was playing DPS or on the Brigitte, he kind of understood just how to play both of those positions well. And seeing him come back and be this comfortable, it felt really great to see.
Yeah, very excited to see where Skyfoxes goes in the duration of the season, but we have one more match coming up after this. It is the #2 seed from Contenders North America Season 1 versus kind of a new look bye week, so don't go anywhere. Come back, grab a snack, hang out with us for the last match of the night.